Recording in progress. So now screen share. Looking for this one. That's the one I wanted you guys to see. Do you guys see natural skin healing? Thumbs up. Okay. And is it like big and clear? Everything's good. Okay. And then are you able to see my cursor this time? Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that sticks around for good. Last time we had troubles with that. Not being able to see the cursor. All righty. So make sure I get you guys in a good spot for me. Oops. Top. Okay. So my name is Alexis. You guys probably already know that, but for those who don't, my name is Alexis, and I am a holistic health coach. I am a certified detoxification specialist. So really my focus when I am working with somebody or educating or putting on a webinar or something like this is to focus on the root cause of disease and our symptoms. It's very common in the medical field. If you have worked with doctors or dermatologists or anybody like that, they're all about treatment and management and prescribing you things, selling you, pharmaceuticals. And that really doesn't do any healing, and it often causes way more problems than if things were just left alone, or but definitely more problems than if you actually took the right approach and tried to implement some effective healing strategies. So yeah, I'm in the business of healing, not in selling products and getting people dependent on what I have to offer. Really, it's my aim to educate people and help them know where to look, and really just kind of give like those foundational principles and a really simple understanding. A lot of people aren't able to achieve the health that they would like to achieve because they have a very complicated view of what our bodies need to heal. They have a very complicated view of how the body functions. So curating simple, that's the name of the game here. I like to keep things simple, and health is something that everyone should be able to access. Everyone should be able to understand it. So I don't make anything like too complicated or overwhelming. And that's kind of the beauty of it too, is you can start with a very simple understanding. And if you like to go deeper, you can look into those other things a little bit deeper and learn more and gain some more perspective about those things. But I keep it simple. I want you guys to have simple tools that you can realistically, have access to and do every day, and just putting the power back into your hands, because when we put our health and healing, when we put that responsibility on somebody else or some other system or a product, we're not really going to get anywhere that we really would like to be. So this is going to be skin healing today, but it's going to give a really good introduction into general detoxification and just general holistic healing. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the details about how skin conditions manifest and how we address those to heal them for good. Like, we don't want skin issues to come back. We want them, and healing is a process, so it takes time, of course, but we want to get down to the root cause, dig out the weeds, clear up the body inside, and that way our skin can just be at peace and be beautiful. Everyone wants good looking skin. It's important. for confidence and for health. So skin conditions, all these here and many, many more, they suck. A lot of people who deal with skin conditions have them in areas of their body that are visible. So again, that like really diminishes confidence, and your skin can sort of become your worst enemy. I know for a really long time, it was my worst enemy. And then there was just a couple really basic ideas that I came across that made sense when I started to try them and implement them, that made me understand that like, oh, my skin isn't actually out to get me. It's just doing its job. So how can I like support it? How can I make sure that it's getting what it needs? And so I want to remind everyone that skin conditions, all these things here and more, they're very common, but they're not normal. I've noticed when I got back on social media, like beginning of last year, I think it was, or it's hard for me to remember exact dates and stuff. But when I got back into doing this sort of work, I noticed that there's a whole like community and movement towards like normalizing skin conditions. And I get it because I've dealt with bad skin for a very long time, and I always was very self-conscious. So definitely I understand that people are trying to clear away the worth that's attached to how we look. But I think that normalizing skin conditions can actually be very harmful, because then people aren't getting down to the root cause of what's going on. They're just brushing it off as like, it's just a cosmetic issue. But our skin is a part of our body. We're an organism. We have systems, and all of that's important. We have to take all of that into consideration all of the time, if we really want to be healthy and have the skin that everyone wants, you know, the beautiful, glowing, healthy, feels good skin. So common, but not normal. And the hope that a lot of people seem to lose is that there's nothing they can do about their skin conditions. They deal with them for a long time, or they just can't understand them. Doctors typically don't understand them. Dermatologists, they just sell you products. They just sell you pharmaceuticals. They, you know, they don't teach you anything. All the times that I went to the dermatologist and they just gave me antibiotics for acne, and it was like, now I look back and I'm like, you are just ruining people's lives. Like, this is terrible what you're doing. You know, if you know, it's one thing to know about skin, and then it's another thing to know about how to heal it. You can know about all the different layers of skin, and we're not even going to get into all that because it's not even that important. And it's just goes over people's head about what we're doing with our diets, what we're doing in our lifestyle, with our skincare products and routines. Like, it just goes way over our heads, and we don't really get anywhere with that kind of approach. So we really have to start integrating a holistic diet and lifestyle and mindset. And that doesn't just heal your skin, but it heals your whole body. It's really incredible. So I wanted to share a little bit more about my personal like skin journey. And I think that will lay a bit of a foundation for how we need to approach like skin healing, because for a lot of people, they think it just has to do with the skin, and they haven't really been able to get beyond the surface of what they're seeing on the outside, or if it's sensitive skin, like how that feels. They just think it's the skin, but a lot of times it's actually not just the skin, or there's something else in the body that needs to be addressed. And so I hope that sharing my experience will kind of pull up a new like fresh perspective for you about how to think about your symptoms, how to think about where they're coming from. And so for me, starting when I was about 5th grade, I noticed that my skin got really oily. It was just like oily all the time. And then as I got like into middle school, I noticed I would have more pimples, and like, I just thought it was what everyone said, that you have oil on your skin, it's clogging your pores. So you remove the oil and that will, you know, solve the problem. And what I wasn't looking at is, why is my body producing, why is my skin producing so much excess oil? There has to be a reason that the body is doing that. And the body is really incredible because it does everything it can to stay alive. So for one, to survive, and it's trying to thrive. It always wants to thrive. Your body always wants to be in a condition of peak performance, optimal health, but it depends on the terrain we have going on inside, and it depends on what we're feeding ourselves. So we have to look at all those things. And so my skin was very oily. And, as I got older, as I got, became a teenager, I would have just acne, and some of my pimples and stuff are really like cystic deep under my skin, and they were really painful and red. And I was terrible about popping them and picking at my skin all the time. I was so obsessed with my skin because I just hated it. I hated what was going on. And I was trying to, I felt I was doing everything that, commercials and my pediatrician and my dermatologist, like everything that they were telling me, I was doing these things. So I thought, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything they're telling me to do, but why doesn't that stuff work? And it's incredibly frustrating. And so I came across, just in my search for like, what can I try next? Because this is driving me nuts. And I read on someone's blog, God bless them because it changed my life, moisturize your skin with oil. Your skin is producing oil because it's dehydrated. It needs moisture. And so because it's dehydrated, like your body is having to produce excess. And so at that point, I really started to, I did that. I moisturized my skin with oil, but I also started to leave my skin alone. I was really bad about, like, I would wash my skin so aggressively, like just all kinds of, like drugstore facial cleaners, like really harsh stuff. And all of it suppressed like my skin's natural function, which is what, pharmaceuticals and our prescriptions and those kinds of products tend to do, is they suppress the natural function. And so we think that our skin is better because of those products, but it's actually worse because it's not working. Our skin stops working the way it's supposed to just to look pretty. And that's like numero uno. You don't want to do that. It's better to go through like the terrible phase of it looks bad, but it's doing what it needs to do. And then eventually you come out on the other side with good skin. Your skin is working and it feels good and looks good. So yeah, I would like scrub my skin like morning and night. Sometimes like when I would come home from school, I was just obsessed, and I was so embarrassed and like self-conscious about my skin that I would wear makeup all the time. And I know it's probably not something that the fellas deal with, but I was constantly trying to hide my skin, and that actually made me more insecure because it was like highlighting the fact that I was insecure. So it was this really like terrible cycle. And so I found this, moisturize your skin with oil. I was like, that seems ridiculous because my skin already has oil in it. Why would I put more oil? But it actually made sense. So I tried it for a while and it was working. My skin wasn't producing as much oil because it was getting that hydration. So I was actually correcting part of the source of the issue. And now when I think about it, I wonder, or I think about it a little bit differently, because why my skin was producing the oil, now I understand, is because my body was very acidic inside. And oils or fats, they're lipids, and these are like buffers for the body. It's like mucus a little bit. And so mucus, acids, they are very like corrosive. They break things down, they burn. That's just what acids do. And so the body naturally wants to protect itself from those things. And my body was full of acids. So it was excessively producing this substance, this oil, to buffer those acids. But that itself, that protective, mechanism of my body, I was thinking is the problem. Really, the problem was the acids, which comes back down to a different weakness in the body and diet and things like that. So all of this is about like digging deeper and like getting back, peeling back all the layers and really finding out what's going on inside. And so I started to leave my skin alone and just let it do its thing. And that was like the best thing I ever did for my skin. And it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's skin is going to need different like support, a different, you know, cleansing approach to your body. It's all different. And we're going to get into that stuff. But yeah, so as we get into this, just remember, we're peeling things back. We're really trying to find that base layer of what's the main issue, and we're gonna work back and heal that and cleanse that and really give the skin the support that it needs, and so that we can love our skin and not battle with it. Because I think back to all those hours I spent in the mirror and trying to like cover my skin and just masking it, and that just exacerbated the problem, and my skin was so red and inflamed. Like I shared a post today that like I wish I had pictures. Like I wish I had pictures of that time in my life, but I avoided the camera like at all costs. It was like, if I don't have makeup covering my skin, if it's not a good skin day, like no cameras, like stay away. And that's really sad. I don't want people to feel like they can't capture those moments in their life and enjoy, you know, the youth that they have. Because, and even, you know, when you get older, like there's so much to enjoy in life. We shouldn't have to focus everything on our skin, but that's why a holistic lifestyle it really will change your life, especially if you have skin issues or any other sort of disease issues, health concerns that you have. Yeah, we're going to get into this stuff. So let's go to an overview now. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. Okay, so the function of the skin, we're going to hit on first. And then we are going to look at the role that chemistry plays. And again, we're going to focus a little bit more like primarily on the skin issues. We're going to like drive it home to the skin issue subject, but really everything that we're going to cover is things that you can apply to any other health issue that you have. It's this is a holistic, you know, we don't just isolate and think about the skin. That's what we're talking about today, but it comes back down to everything else happening in the body. Everything's interconnected, interrelated, and our body needs the balance and the harmony of the systems and things working together. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to get into iridology, which is super fascinating, super cool. It's going to give you a lot of insight into the root cause of your skin conditions, the nature of it. Then we're going to touch on detoxification, like what you can do to start healing your skin. And then the healing portion is like what that looks like manifesting as your body undergoes those changes. So the function of the skin, our skin is essentially a two-way membrane. We absorb things from the environment, products we were putting on our skin, and we eliminate things from within the body. Rightly so, the skin is dubbed the third kidney. The kidneys are one of the main things that we look for and take into consideration when disease is manifesting in the body, because they're responsible for eliminating the wastes in the body. We have blood that feeds our cells, and we have a sewer channel, and that's the lymphatic system. So when you're thinking about your skin is just like your liver. Your skin is just like your lungs or your kidneys or your bones. Your skin is made of cells. All of these things, our whole body is made of cells. And there's two fluids surrounding those cells, and that's the blood and the lymphatic system. So we need to be mindful of the way we're nourishing our cells through our blood, and how that nourishment and how our lifestyle factors are contributing to the waste buildup in our body. And so the lymphatic system is where the acids get trapped. That's where the cellular wastes get trapped, and toxins too. So skin conditions, people with sensitive skin, you know, they tend to have they notice it when they put things on their skin or things that are in the environment, their clothes maybe, or metals, or, just like certain chemicals and products, because it's absorbing. It's very vulnerable and sensitive to what's being absorbed, but also to what's being eliminated, because if your skin is sensitive and it's eliminating toxins, that those are wrapped up in one. But things like acne, things like eczema, psoriasis, things that look like the body is eliminating something, or like sores or itchiness and redness, it's the body's trying to get rid of. So it's picking up the slack of something else in the body, or there's like an excessive buildup of something in the lymphatic system. And so we're going to look at chemistry. So 0, we're looking at acids. Acids are hot, they're corrosive, they are what we call inflammation. That's a very abstract word to a lot of people. It's a very trendy word, I have inflammation, but people don't really know what that means. When you break the word down, inflammation, in flames, it's hot, it's burning, it's fire, it's acid. So inflammation is really acids. When we have breakouts on our skin, it's because the lymphatic system is full of those acids. It's full of that waste. And there's varying degrees of that. And we'll see that when we look at the irises, how to tell how much acids are in the body and how that affects us. But when our body is acidic, it's deteriorating our cells. So somebody with sensitive skin, if you have acids in your body, or, this has been something that's been passed down to you, sensitive skin, those acids are what are breaking the skin down, causing it to be weak and vulnerable. And oops, sorry, there's a fly over here, little fly flying around, but it caught my attention. And that's what dehydrates the skin. So the skin is going to naturally try and hydrate itself. And there's many ways that the body does this. I have, in the last webinar I did, we went much deeper into all of these things. So you guys should, Shanice was there for the last one, but anyone else watching should go back and watch, because you'll learn a lot about, much more in depth about all of this stuff. So, but then alkaline is the opposite of acids, and that's really soothing. As you can see from the chart, we go from red, which is hot, it's like the sun, it's beating down on you. And then you come over into cool waters. It's refreshing, it's hydrating. And that's what the body needs to start regenerating the cells, regenerating new tissue, and to be resilient. We shouldn't feel like we're being attacked by the outside world through our skin. Our skin should be able to withstand that. So sensitivities and stuff like that. We want resilient skin. And also in the way that it looks, we want youthful, buoyant skin, not, sagging and drooping and wrinkles. We want it to be elastic. And so the hydration is really in the alkaline realm. And the blood, so the blood takes about 20% of the volume compared to 80% of the lymphatic system in the body. So the blood is very good at maintaining an alkaline pH, because if it didn't, we would die in a matter of minutes. And so the lymphatic system is really a number one culprit for most people who have skin issues, and any other disease, really, because that's where all the waste and the acids get dumped into. But most people have an elimination problem, and so it gets backed up, and the skin is helping us by eliminating it, but that doesn't look pretty. It doesn't feel nice. So we really need to move our body's chemistry toward the alkaline realm. And it's really different for a lot of, for everyone. We all are in a unique stage of, how strong are our genetics? Are we extra vulnerable and susceptible to pain from the acids? How quickly does our body respond to them? So depending on what your diet looks like, depending on what your genetics look like, and your overall condition in your body, some people need to go into 80% raw. Some people can even move into 50% or even 40% raw, and they start to feel better. So, and it happens really quickly. The body cleanses and it regenerates at the same time. And so, and then it also goes through phases. So there will be some times when it looks more like your body is cleansing and purging and eliminating, and with the skin that comes out. And then you might go through phases that are more regenerative. But for the most part, you cleanse and you heal at the same time. And the further you go into the alkaline chemistry, into that regenerating chemistry, your body is going to heal faster and better. And that's going to stick around for the long run, because once we get rid of those acids, then the skin doesn't need to eliminate any of that, and it can start to strengthen again. For those who have sensitivities, that's important. And I almost forgot to put these charts in until last night. And then I was like, I have pictures of eyes, but I don't even have pictures of the charts. People need to see that. So here are the iridology charts, and you guys can see the cursor moving, right? Yeah, okay. So the very outer ring, this very outer portion, that is the skin. And it's very easy to see in people, especially with blue eyes, and those who have sensitivities, and you'll see on the next slide. But yeah, so the skin is on the very outside ring. And so we'll go into the pictures because that will help to get at what I'm going to try to say. So you see that picture on the left here, this is a blue eye. We have true blue eyes and true brown eyes. People with hazel and green eyes, your eyes are actually blue. There are people who have eyes that appear to be brown, but they're actually blue, like my eye that's in the middle right here. I have a true blue eye. In a true brown eye, you only see varying shades of brown and black. But if you see greens, oranges, yellows, white, browns, like it's a blue eye. If you see multiple colors, it's in a blue eye. So I have a lot of work to do in my body because all of that brown is acids, and it's very dehydrated. As we get into like a more chronic state, it's more dehydrated. So it takes a lot of consistent hydration for the body to get rid of all of that. And so, okay, I got to explain a little bit about iridology so that we can understand the different levels and how to identify what's going on. So the colors in the iris, in a blue eye, they range from, so they represent the lymphatic system. So if you're looking at a blue eye and you see white, you are looking at acute, or the very first stage of congestion in the lymphatic system. If you're looking at yellow or the eye appears green, then you're looking at a subacute, which is the second stage. If you're looking at brown, that's a chronic stage of lymphatic congestion. And then in a brown eye, you look more at the texture. So you can see in this eye on the right, it looks puffy. It looks like you can't identify any fibers in there because it's just everything's overlaid with acid buildup or the lymphatic system buildup. So in this eye over here on the left, this is a skin ring. And so when you see a skin ring, it's going to be dark. And for most people with a skin ring, or with blue eyes and they have like skin sensitivities, you can see it just having a conversation with them. You don't have to even look very up close, but you can tell that person has sensitive skin. And that's a weakness of the skin as a tissue, as an organ. And that can be related to, it's very likely that it's related to a parathyroid issue, which the parathyroid, it's responsible for calcium utilization. And our tissues are made up of calcium. That's what holds everything together, the connective tissues. And so the acids in a body, in the lymphatic system, they need something to buffer it. They need something to neutralize it, or else the body will self-destruct in a way. So it will leach calcium from our tissues. And if we have an issue with that calcium being replenished with a parathyroid issue, then we start to see a skin ring weakness. But it could, there might not be a parathyroid involvement. That's just one thing to consider. It could be that there are acids in the body that are just leaching calcium from the skin and causing weaknesses that way. And we can also just inherit the weaknesses. It might not be anything that we've done necessarily, but that we're inheriting weaknesses that, past generations have cultivated over time through various things. It could be, excessive sun exposure or something that's damaging the skin. And then we're just passing that on down. So this eye on the left, when we see a skin ring like this one is a very thick, bold skin ring. And then we see like a nice thick bout of yellowish, like whitish. It's very congested right there. Those are toxins trapped under the skin. So somebody who has an iris that looks like this, they might not only be sensitive to what's coming in, from outside, what they're putting on their skin and whatnot, but also the acids trying to escape can be very, cause sensitivities. I recently talked to someone whose eye looks very much like that. And she was saying, like, I've been having these weird, like prickling, like almost like a pinprick feeling on my skin. And first I thought it was bed bugs. So I just checked, wanted to make sure there was nothing like that. And there wasn't. And I was like, well, what your eye looks like, it's very likely that your skin is just feeling those acids as they're moving through your body. They're not being eliminated properly, but your skin is weak. So your skin isn't even able to eliminate it properly. So all those toxins are just being trapped inside. So that's when you would really want to look at your kidneys and make sure that you're supporting them and getting like the hydration with your diet sort of thing. But then, okay, so acids and lymph, we're going to look at this middle eye. And this is a true blue eye. This is my left eye. If you look around the very outside where the skin ring would be, it looks kind of congested. There's like spotty brown. It just looks like there's junk in there. So I have a lot of congestion in my skin, but my skin actually has gotten stronger over the years. I think I used to notice a very prominent skin ring around my eyes. And it looks like it's a little bit stronger, but definitely there's congestion in there. And that's because I have a kidney weakness right here. And same with the right brown eye over here. That kidney and adrenal weakness means that those primary eliminative organs aren't working and everything's just backing up. The skin is trying to help and it looks pretty nasty. So if you have like a dark hole in that area of the kidney and adrenal, that's a very likely cause for your skin conditions, or sort of like a generally dark patch like I have right here. That is going to cause acids to build up in the body, and your skin is going to try and pick up on that. And then sort of again with some different eyes here. Here's another skin ring. And I'm not sure if you're able to tell. I had to look kind of closely on my phone at this one. But the iris fibers, the fibers in your eyes are supposed to be really straight and strong. And when they start to get squiggly, it represents your genetic constitution. So when they're squiggly, they're weak, they're vulnerable, they're sensitive to the things going on in the body. And so you can see around the skin ring, the fibers are actually squiggly in the skin ring. So she has a very genetically weak and like sensitive skin that way. Let's see, I'm going to go back one. And I'll show on mine because it's easiest to tell, I think, but my iris fibers are pretty straight. They're a little bit like they want to start buckling a little bit, but they are pretty straight. So if I had very squiggly iris fibers like this lady right here, with all the acids that I have in my body, I would be in crippling pain all the time. And so somebody with a vulnerable and weak genetic constitution, they're very susceptible to even a small amount of acids. And so that's something that we have to keep in mind when we're trying to cleanse the body out. Is some people, it might not be best to go full speed ahead. It might, your skin might just blow up and eliminate things right away, like just a huge purge of all the toxins, and it can be very painful. So there's, everyone has to kind of take a different approach to their healing. But looking at our irises helps us to understand what's going to be the best approach to healing our skin. Because most people have jobs, most people have things that they need to do out in the world, and, they need to be able to function. And so sometimes like a full speed ahead healing, approach is not going to be the best because they still have to function. But our eyes, what the eyes tell us with the color and the depths and the patterns in the eyes is, what approach we should be taking and what's the nature of our skin conditions. Is it related to a different organ or area of the body that's shut down and causing a buildup sort of, or is it actually the skin? Is it because of acids and lymph? So this is why iridology is just hands down the best thing we need to be doing as soon as we can. When we learn about iridology, we should have an iridology report because it's going to tell us so much about everything going on in the body and what approach we need to take. And so this here is actually my sister. And you can see that she has a bit of green in her eyes. So she has a true blue eye. So her issue with her acne, which I now have pictures of everyone in my family of their eyes, and my dad's eyes looked a lot like hers and mine. And my youngest brother, his eyes look almost completely brown, but they're actually blue underneath. But we have that problem of the acids being built up in our body, and we have kidney and adrenal weaknesses that don't help with that. So our skin is relatively strong. It's doing what it needs to do. It's helping us, but that manifests as skin conditions, and that's not pleasant or pretty. And then again here, kidney and adrenal there, and then a little bit of skin weakness involved also. So there's not a ton of acids, but because the skin is sensitive a bit, and there's that weakness in the kidney and adrenal, this is actually my stepbrother here, and he has pretty bad acne as well. Actually, he probably has the worst out of anyone in my family, but yes, so it's good to look at our eyes, see what's going on there, trying to understand the nature, the source of the skin condition so we can take the best approach. Because if we take an approach that we think is, we think maybe we need to cleanse the body, but instead the body needs to be nourished and supported, we might not be doing ourselves a very good service. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and iridology helps us to determine what way to take, what path to take. Okay, and detoxification. We need to be nourishing our cells and nourishing our systems. So we nourish our cells through what we eat, of course, and we do that with alkaline food. Our cells, just about every function of the body, if you go for a run, that movement is creating acids. So if we're eating foods that are creating acids, that's just going to get built up in the body. And depending on the nature and the source of our skin conditions, that's going to flare up even more. So we really need to move into that alkaline dominance. We don't need to be fully 100% raw foods or even a high fruit, but we need to be thinking about alkaline dominance. We can transition. A lot of people have great skin healing success in the transition phase of just eliminating animal products or eliminating alcohol or, other things in the diet. And they don't even have to get high raw or fully raw or anything close to that. So just taking into consideration where we are and move in that direction, we'll see a lot of improvement in our skin. And that's also, I forgot to mention, a lot of people will have, or a lot of women especially, will have like skin flare-ups at certain phases in their menstrual cycle, because the hormones that are being released during certain points are actually acidic hormones. So we think, oh, it's hormonal acne, or we notice certain like patterns to when our skin will flare up. And it's not just hormones. It's not because of the hormones. It's because they're adding additional acids to the mix. And then the skin has to, deal with that. And so hydration is so crucial. Hydration is what keeps the lymphatic system in a fluid state. Our blood, fortunately, has a manual pump. It has the heart to circulate the blood through the body. The lymphatic system doesn't do that. So we need movement, daily movement of our bodies, and that constricts like the muscles and, the sort of like the gravitational movement of moving your body helps to flow that out. But hydration is super crucial because our cells, when they don't have enough hydration, they basically will just collapse. They collapse on themselves. They need that living water. And a lot of people think that they can hydrate themselves just by drinking more water. And it really doesn't help that a lot of the water we have access to isn't even that clean. It's not even that, neutral or alkaline or charged in the right way. So that doesn't do a lot of people any good anyways, but a lot of people think, well, I'll drink more water, thinking that that's hydration. But hydration, when we get hydration from like a fruit, everything in an orange or an apple or some grapes or whatever fruit you're having, it's all organically structured. So if you're drinking or, having a watermelon, all that extra water in there, all that water is something that your cells can recognize as hydration, and your body more easily, it's drawn to that pull of, the chemistry and the structure of the molecules, and it can use it. So we need to hydrate with food. Like we need to eat our hydration more than anything else. And we need high energy, because if we want our cells to be able to not only function, but also repair and do both and have a peak performance, not just functioning like, making it to work on time today, but like really showing up and like doing the job and being quick. And we want our cells to have that vitality. So we need our food to have high energy, and the highest energy foods you will ever eat are fruits. And then next are raw vegetables. Then you go into cooked vegetables, and then, grains, and then meats are at the very bottom. So increasing the amount of fruit in your diet is essential, but also eating more fresh vegetables, lightly steamed or lightly cooked vegetables, even increasing those in your diet too, as you swap those things out, as you start to crowd out the things that are lower energy. It's really easy for people to get into the mindset of like, I need to detox right away, do it now. And for some people, that's essential. A lot of people don't have much time with their health, so they need to take a really quick approach. But there's, other cases where that might not be so beneficial, or some people can jump really far into it, go full speed ahead right away, and then they fall back and they get into this nasty cycle. So even just taking a slow transition, just start crowding out the bad things in your diet, or the not so beneficial, I wouldn't say bad, but and just crowding them out with the things that are really going to hydrate and nourish you and re-energize your body and your cells. That's going to be essential. And so when it comes to our skin, we often think, at least for me, having dealt with like acne and just clogged up pores and bad skin and oily skin, I always thought that the more I did to eliminate those factors was better, but actually the less I did for my skin, the better. We kind of just need to take a step back and, again, looking at your irises, kind of determining where you're at, what kind of support your body needs, what the next step is for you. You might need to support your skin with certain products, or avoiding certain things, like dry skin brushing. That might be too much for somebody's skin. So not all of these things are going to apply to everyone, but generally speaking, we need to have a very simple approach. Keeping things off our skin as much as possible. And I know that for women, that's a hard thing to do. Everyone, want to wear our makeup and look fun and fancy and cool. And it's if you deal with skin issues, even if the issues aren't on your face, your body is absorbing that and it's still getting circulated through your system. So if you have bad skin on your arms, we really need to think about what that looks like, putting skin or products on our skin anywhere on our body. What are we washing our hair with? What are we, what's our water like in the shower? Do we have a filter that's filtering out those chemicals and whatnot? And natural. So the only thing I really use on my skin anymore is coconut oil and essential oils if I feel like I need it. But the more we put on our skin, the more work that our skin has to do. And the less it can focus on just regenerating itself and functioning properly. It's battling so much excessive things externally or that we're putting in through what we're eating. So just really simplifying our skincare, making it natural, minimize everything that you can. And it doesn't mean that it has to be this way forever. It doesn't have to be super dramatic even at first, but just taking those things into consideration, starting to make steps in that direction. And through the healing process, the skin can become more sensitive. And with toxins coming out of the skin, we might need to protect our skin. So from the sun, I mainly put that for like sun protection. So if you have sensitive skin or while you're cleansing the body and the skin is doing that extra work to repair and heal, protecting it with shade, clothing over the top, or like a natural sunscreen can be helpful, but keeping that in mind. And so therapeutics also help us to detoxify. The movement helps the lymphatic system, so moving our bodies, but also we can manually stimulate that flow. So dry skin brushing, you use a brush and I have a chart on my website that you can print, shows you just how to do it. Because there's a right way to skin brush and there's a wrong way to skin brush. You want to move towards the organs that are eliminating. A lot of people think you brush it towards the heart because there's a huge misconception that the lymphatic fluid gets dumped into the blood and drains out like that. So if you pump it to the heart or, you move it over to the heart, it's going to pump it out like that. That's just idiotic thinking to me. Like, whoever came up with that, what's the point of having kidneys then if they're not filtering that stuff out? But so we want to dry skin brush toward the kidneys, and the chart will show you how to do that. But moving every day, breathing more deeply, and that's something that I have to work on because my nervous system, because it's so taxed, that natural function that you shouldn't have to think to breathe is not as, it's not performing at its best for me personally. So I really have to think like, breathe deeper, make sure that you're doing movements and activities that cause you to like take deeper breaths. And sweating, getting toxins out through sweating. You can go to a sauna, you can just run and exercise or whatever, getting those things out through the skin. And fasting is another therapeutic thing that you can do to give your body a break, because if we are constantly digesting food, then we can't really repair much. That our digestion takes the most energy out of any process in the body, any function in the body. So taking periods of rest for our digestion, whether that's juicing or even just drinking more smoothies, or even just drinking eating all fruits for a couple days, just any kind of digestive rest that we can give our body is going to be very helpful. And a lot of people's skin conditions start in their gut. Most people's guts are just full of junk, and the body tries to get rid of those any way that it can. If the kidneys aren't working, the skin's going to do it for you. And yeah, no one likes that. That's why we're all here. We don't want bad skin. We got to clean up from the very inside of the body. So alkaline dominant diet, keep it simple. That's also a great way to rest, give yourself digestive rest, is to eat simpler foods. I try to aim for 10 ingredients at a time or less. And that might not seem like a lot of ingredients to some people, but It's very common that a typical meal will have like 40 to 100 plus ingredients in it, just with sauces and the way that you prepare it, different seasonings and all the other different ingredients, you know, the whole food ingredients that you're putting into it. And especially if you eat processed foods, like if you're eating all those sorts of things together, you have countless ingredients that your body is trying to process and trying to utilize as fuel. So if you can keep it as simple as possible, that really will help with digestion and the cleansing and nourishing the body. Because if your body only has 10 ingredients it has to break down and extract the nutrition from, that's way better than, oh my gosh, I just got bombarded with 89 ingredients that I have to try and process and make a use of or eliminate. And so all of that effort goes towards the digestion of our food and trying to use it for something, and it can't go toward our skin or it can't go toward other functions. And if we're eating that way, it's very likely that those ingredients aren't good for our body anyway. So it's much better if we can simplify that. And we need to think about healing our skin from the inside out. Don't look in the mirror so often. That was one thing that I did also around the time I was like ditching the skincare routines I was used to and like moisturizing with oil and just taking that approach. I took mirrors down. Like I realized I had mirrors like everywhere. I was just so obsessed with looking at my skin, and that just made the problem so much worse. And now I don't even think twice. Like when I walk past a mirror, I used to stop in like every mirror and like check my face, you know, make sure, you know, pop something or, oh, it was just terrible way to live. But yeah, ditch your mirrors. You don't need your mirrors. Okay. And then, yeah, support your skin's healing with minimal natural skincare and fuel your cells. Make that your number one priority, is to give your cells good fuel that they can use, that they can repair with. And that's going to make sure that whatever is getting dumped into your lymphatic system isn't excessive. It's not an excessive burden moving forward. And you'll start to feel that right away when you change your diet and you start to eat more alkaline foods. You notice right away how your skin feels. And so in the past year, I have eaten mostly raw. And then in like the fall and winter months that we've just been in, I've been eating I've been eating higher like cooked foods, but whole foods at that. But I noticed that even after just a couple months of eating more like grain, like quinoa and potatoes and, you know, just oatmeals and, you know, whatever, like my skin started to look really dull. And I wasn't feeling too hot about that, because when I started to eat raw foods, my skin just like automatically it changed. And it was like glowing, even though I had breakouts and pimples. Like, I don't know if you can see them, but I'm real broke out, like, at least from where I can see myself right now, like, but my skin sort of like glows still. Like it has a different like texture and a color to it that wasn't there before. And so when I started eating more cooked foods this past season, I was like, whoa, I really noticed how that makes my skin look dull and like kind of lifeless and not as elastic. And then the last couple of weeks, I'm like giving my fruit, and I've been noticing the difference. So our food is everything to our skin. Okay. And this is super important too, that I got to drive home. Detoxification is not something that we do to the body. It's a natural process that we promote through our diet and our lifestyle. Our body naturally wants to detoxify itself. When we get sick and we have mucus and fevers, that's the body detoxify. It doesn't want toxins inside, so it's getting them out. A lot of people look at that as illness. And for us, you know, it's skin. Our skin is trying to detoxify what's inside, or it's having trouble and it's extra sensitive because it's weak and it can't detoxify properly. It can't function properly. So detox isn't something we just like check off the list. We take a product and it's like, I just did a detox. It's like detoxification is something that we want to be an ongoing process. It's something that our body can say, okay, I feel like and it goes in waves, it goes in cycles. So the body will sort of go through like plateaus. And then as you are fueling your body the right way, and as you're hydrating the right way, your body will say, oh, okay, I have enough reserves now of energy, of nourishment to do this extra process of detoxification. And so a couple nights ago, I noticed that I was a little bit feverish. I woke up and just, it was very, very low grade fever. I typically have a low body temperature anyway. So even just like a degree for me is like, I feel warm. And so I felt a little bit feverish, and it's because I've been eating more fresh and raw foods just in the last couple of weeks. So what we eat are, we want that process, our body to say, okay, I can use this. Now I'm going to go through my cleansing really quick and just, I'll be right back. We want it to be something that our body is able to do. And for some people, it's really hard even to get into detox symptoms because their body is either lacking the hydration, things are really congested and stagnant, or they don't have the right nourishment in their diet, and their body is like, okay, I need to replenish a little bit first. And then once I've built up the reserves, I can go ahead and like purge a little bit more. I can put forth that effort to cleanse more. And so we're going to take a look at a healing crisis, because with skin conditions, you're definitely going to notice flare-ups. And if you've ever taken like prescriptions for your skin, or if you've ever been to a dermatologist or whatever, at least for me, I heard all the time, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that's totally true with detoxification. Our skin, any other, illness, disease, symptoms that we have, they're bound to get worse before they get better. But like I mentioned before, that purging and cleansing and healing and regenerating tend to happen simultaneously. So we'll notice like we feel really good, or we feel super energized, our skin is really clear, but like also I'm breaking out at the same time, or like also I have, this ache or pain over here, or I'm, whatever. So it kind of happens at the same time, and it can be a little bit weird. So it's good to know that beforehand, because some people will change their diet and notice that like some symptom comes up, or they're not feeling well, or they feel fatigued, and they think, oh, it must be the diet change, and they'll ditch it, but it's because it's actually like a healing symptom. So we want to kind of push through those. They can be intense depending on how much and how like quickly you detoxify your body. It depends on how your diet is, how consistent are you. So it can be intense, or it can just be kind of mild, but with skin symptoms or skin conditions, especially, you're going to notice flare-ups. It's better to be going through the detox symptoms, going up the mountain, than going through disease symptoms and losing your health going down the mountain. And okay, let's see what let me check my notes real quick. Okay, so I mentioned all that. And yeah, so you can notice that your eczema gets worse, your skin is extra itchy, maybe your skin feels extra sensitive, or it's extra red. All these kinds of things can happen and more. Whatever skin issues that you deal with, you're bound to see them flare up, get worse, improve a little bit, come back, go away. It's very dynamic, and the body just does what it needs to do. And that's why it's important to like step back a little bit. Don't see something that's going on and being like, I need to take care of that. Because if we think it's just on the skin, then we're going to miss the big picture of what's going on underneath. And the body is going to be like, why? I'm trying to do this for you. I'm trying to do this for you. And you're getting in the way. So step back a little bit, let your skin breathe, let your skin do what it needs to do, and just really focus on fueling your cells. And that's going to be the best route to take. So this is a little bit of a review. I hope this all kind of came together. I feel like an hour to an hour and a half it doesn't always feel like enough time to get into the things, because everything's sort of interconnected. You talk about one thing and then it relates to this over here, and it all just kind of comes together. But the more that you kind of stick around and the more that you learn, it really should just be simple. Like it really isn't complex, but it's helpful to know the information. So I hope it all kind of came together and that you are able to take something away from this. But little review, the function of our skin. Our skin is our friend. Our skin is trying to do good things for us. It needs our help to do that. and chemistry. We need to really, most of it will come down to chemistry, what's going into our body that's exacerbating our skin issues or that's causing them to begin with. How is it making our skin weaker or stronger? And then iridology, look at your irises, send me your iris pictures. I love to see them. And that's going to tell you, are you dealing with a kidney issue and it's not actually your skin? Are you dealing with a parathyroid issue that's causing your wrinkles and your stretch marks because your skin doesn't have the calcium it needs to stay together and to be elastic? Or is it actually a skin weakness that's causing your sensitivity or another sort of skin flare-up condition? And then detoxifying, you want to encourage your body's cleansing. Always, 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 even if you don't have tons of acids built up in your system, you always want that to be a priority because you don't want toxins to back up in your system to cause problems down the road. So regenerate your body with food. And then healing, be aware of healing versus disease symptoms. If you are wondering what's going on, send me a question. I'm happy to, help and answer any way that I can. And then questions. We're going to take some questions now, if you guys have any. And really just remember to get engaged in your healing process. Learn more, dig deeper. If you feel like you figured it out, try and see if there's another layer underneath it that maybe you're missing. But my hope is that with the iridology, if you have a report done or you're able just to look at your eyes yourself, that you won't have to, wonder so much, that it's really going to give you the insights that you need to take, effective action for healing your skin. So if you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'll do my best that I can to give you an answer. Go ahead, Shanicia.
I had a question about my lips because they're always dry. And I'm like, and they've always been this way since I can remember. Mm-hmm. So I've been feeling like it should be getting better because I've been trying to be consistent, but I do know that things take time. Mm-hmm. Do you have any recommendations on what I can put on it, as well as maybe, I'm hydrating, so.
Right. So dry skin, I came back to this slide because it will remind me to touch on some of these. Dry skin, and I deal with the dry skin or the dry lips too, a little bit, mostly in like the winter months, because I think the alkaline environment especially makes my skin to like chap up and dry up and the acids want to come out. But yeah, that's acids in the body. And if you've dealt with it for a long time, it's going to take quite a while for that to heal. And so I think that because I know that you've done the intestinal cleanse, I think that as things start to drain from up here, because really all this stuff gets backed up when the gut's backed up. And so it's going to take a little bit of time for that stuff to come down fully and just really getting that stuff hydrated. But you could possibly try some herbs. I'll try and find some herbs that maybe you can do to like having a cloth on there with like the herbs to soak it in and like nourish it, also to like maybe purge some stuff out, maybe like go through like a lip detox, sort of amplify that a little bit. Cause I know that you can, there's different skin herbs that are good. There's different like lymph herbs that are good and they can kind of work pretty quick. So I wonder if I'll look for some herbs and see if there's something you can maybe put on there. But I would say, do you happen to lick your lips a lot? Because I know that when my lips are dry, I always lick them. And I know that if you have like acidic saliva, that could make it worse. So I don't know, just maybe you could pH test strip your saliva and see what kind of that looks like, if that's maybe a factor in it as well. But yeah, anything that's drying is definitely acids involved. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed like even with lip balms and stuff, I feel like it makes it worse, not better. Like, I'm like, what's going on? So I've
Yeah.
been trying to find more natural products to see if that will help. But I mean, I still struggle with it. I'm just trying to find a way to make it better.
Right. Yeah, I only really use like coconut oil on my skin, and like sometimes I'll put it on my lips as well, which like it doesn't like absorb well into the lips like it does into my skin. So I don't know. You can
Yeah.
try it, but yeah.
Okay. The herbs sound interesting. I hadn't thought of that. So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe like a
yeah,
direct application there.
right.
Something might be helpful.
Okay. I had another question
Yeah.
because I've noticed that the bottoms of my feet, I've never really had an issue with like uh I don't know what you want to call it. Not mm, it's like hard underneath there now. Like,
Rough.
and
Yeah.
I yeah, it's just like certain spots. So it's like hard, it'll hurt sometimes when I'm walking. And I'm wondering if that's a way of, do I need to be soaking my feet? Because are there things trying to maybe detox from my feet? Because I've heard that that's where you can get a lot of absorption. But are things trying to eliminate through my feet? And because I'm not soaking my feet, it's just getting trapped in. Or
Possibly.
is it like, because like I said, this is recent. So
Mhm,
I don't know if it's the way I'm walking on it because
mhm,
I calluses, that's the word I'm
mhm.
looking
Calcium.
for.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I don't know if it could be my shoes. I'm just wondering if it was possibly a way my body could be trying to detox through my feet and maybe I should be soaking my feet. Or is that not even a thing?
So if it's something that's like relatively new and you have, because you have been hydrating for quite a while now, so it's very possible that it is just your feet are trying to like purge something out. And the body, it's so smart. Like it will just, sometimes it's like an area that's stronger or an area that's weaker that things are going to detox out of. Because if there's a strong point and it's like, okay, I can get rid of this quick, but sometimes it's like a weakened area that has like a sensitivity, and so it would be coming out that way. But yeah, I would say it's probably a detox symptom because you have been doing this for a little while. um, but then also I'm such a foot nerd and I love like barefoot shoes and all that sort of stuff. So um, depending on like what kind of footwear you wear, maybe it's involved with that. But
Mhm.
again, sort of like with the lips, you might be able to do like some like lymphatic and like skin herbs for your feet that might help to like pull anything out. If they are trying to detoxify, it might help to
Mhm.
speed that process along and sort of like support the skin at the same time, plus like absorbing those things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
maybe like an herbal foot bath might be helpful there.
Okay. Um, herbal. Also, I wanted to know because I'm going to be visiting family in April and I'm going to be probably like, does everybody want an iridology report? So I wanted to know, I know when I met with you before, you talked about taking pictures in a darker area to get a better view. Like I'm trying to, because I take like a million pictures trying to get a good eye picture.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any tips on
Yeah.
how to
So
get a good picture?
I have noticed that if you're in a dark room and you have like one additional light and then you have the camera, I feel like that tends to do a better job because then you don't have so much like light noise coming in and like affecting what's on the eye. So you'd probably be able to get a better picture being in the dark like that. And try, if you have some extra hands to help you, having the person either sit in front of you like we did or having them laying down, and then
Mhm.
taking a video with the camera and having the person move the light source around. And because the eyes are kind of weird, and sometimes it's just because there's like acids accumulated in the tissues of the eye that it's not clear, so it is hard to see like the fibers that are underneath those tissues on
Mhm.
top. Um, like when your eyes are clear, like you can see them, you know, they're crystal clear, they're like blue waters, but when there's acids there and it's kind of cloudy or it's not, you know, I don't know, not catching the light very well, it could just be because of the acids and stuff. So trying to find, moving the light source and trying to find a spot that catches the iris fibers best and like the color, try doing it like
Okay.
that. And then you can take a screenshot of like the frames that are the clearest.
Okay.
I've had some success with that.
Source. Okay. I think those were my questions. I did want to show you something I dealt with when I had my ovarian cyst removed.
Mhm.
I had a very bad skin reaction. And okay, so this is like the beginning. I don't know if you can see my arm, the bumps on there.
Uh-huh.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was like the beginning. And then, so you can see a little more. Can you see
Yeah.
that? Okay. And so it went from that to this.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then it went to, it's like all of my, it's like everything was itching. And this was happening on this arm, my stomach, and a little bit on my other arm. And what they said was like this was my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, and it was itchy.
It was, I was itching so bad, and it was a struggle because I didn't scratch. So I was just kind of laying there like this, but I just didn't want anything on it because that would irritate it. And they put Dermabond on my incisions. And so they were saying that I was probably having an allergic reaction to the Dermabond.
Mm-hmm.
But after like listening to everything, I was like, because I had the surgery, which pulled out like a cyst, did some things get released into my system that caused my body to do that?
Yeah, that's a good point, because when you have an obstruction like that and it's removed, then things can sort of circulate again. Because when things get really congested and they're not flowing anywhere, and then you suddenly have that like fluid movement, it could have been like, yeah, the toxins or like the acids in the waste coming out through your skin because it's been able to, you know, finally get flowing and moving better. Itchiness can be acids, but also it can be sort of like fungal. And so when you have a lot of acids in your system, fungus thrives on that. So that's also possible that maybe like some sort of fungal thing was like eliminating because of that. I wonder if it was, did they give you like medications to sleep for the surgery? Like, was it anything like that?
Yeah, I was out for the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was just very weird because the surgery part of it was fine. Like I didn't even take any pain meds after.
Right.
It was just that reaction happened. And it was like for 2 weeks, I just kind of suffered. It was terrible, but
yeah,
I just kept telling myself it won't last forever.
Yeah.
And I just dealt with it. But I'm starting to wonder if that had something to do with it, just my lymphatic system and them removing the cyst and all that stuff.
Right. That definitely, that makes me think that could have been a big factor in that, because yeah, when things like when I first was getting started, like actually focusing on detoxing my body, I was taking more herbs. I'm not really taking many right now. I'm focusing more on just food, but I was taking a lot of herbs, and I was taking I think it was just a lymphatic herb, and I had been like on mostly fruit, and I just started to skin brush in my chest one day. It was just a morning, but I had just done like skin brushing, and I was going to jump in the shower, and my skin was just like so red and like so itchy. And it was just because the lymph finally got moving. It just like, it had like a rush and it was able to move, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is weird. But yeah, so I think because that obstruction was removed, things probably just started to like flow, and they're like, okay, We can,
Yeah.
and then maybe the skin just was irritated by that and took the opportunity to purge some of it out.
Right. Well, I'm glad I found this community because it's taught me a lot. I wish I'd learned about it a lot sooner.
Mm,
Yeah.
it takes a lot
So
of
I think,
mysteriousness away.
yeah, after we get off, I've been sitting here looking at my sauna and I haven't gotten in it yet. My husband got me one for Christmas. I'm like, I probably need to start using it. So I think I'm gonna break that out after we get off of this
Nice. Lucky you. That's awesome.
call.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for this.
you are very welcome. I'm always happy to chat with you. You always have good
You
stuff.
too.
Good questions.
Thank
Did you have
you.
any questions, Mario?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, you're saying the skin is also like the third kidneys, right? It's dubbed
Yeah.
the third kidneys. Well, what's the last door? If you eat something acidic, something bad, and it's going through your system, and it's trying to detox it out. Is your skin the last option, or is there still something else? Like,
Right. So the body is really fascinating. It will kind of eliminate anywhere that it can. But because the skin is really the thing that is like the barrier between the outside world and us, it kind of is that last resort, like that last door. So we eliminate a little bit through our bowels. Most people have a lot of congestion backed up in the bowels, or in the lymphatic system in their bowels. So most people don't eliminate much through there just because of the backup that's there. And a lot of that has to do with kidneys. Like just about everyone, like the majority of people that you come into contact with, they're going to have either a kidney or adrenal or a kidney and adrenal weakness. So their waste is getting backed up. And that's why we see so many skin issues, is because those are the kidneys are the two main organs designated to drain the lymphatic system. And so when those aren't working, the skin really is like that last doorway. But even like through the mucous membranes, like in your mouth, I know that when I eat acidic things and like the next couple of days, I'll have like a sore in my mouth or like on the side of my tongue, or even like not even just when I eat something acidic, but when I've been like cleansing for a little while, I'll notice like I'll get mouth sores and they're kind of irritating. And just like sometimes I'll have like a random rash. Like I don't really get rashes much, but every once in a while I'll just get one and it's there for like a week or something and it's kind of itchy and like irritating. But yeah, the skin I would say is like the last door that that everything tries to eliminate through.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I have that same issue. I'm sorry, I have birds in the background. There's just
Okay, I love it. I used to have veggies and I miss that sound, so it's cool.
um, but yeah, I get the random rashes, I get the random blisters, and I think I'm doing good. And then here's this like boom, you get hit in the face with a rash and it becomes uncomfortable. And it kind of questions if I'm doing the right thing. It's
Right, yeah.
sets me back, but really I know it's not. But
Right.
that's why I have these conversations and like everybody pitches in and you learn from everybody's experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your diet like? Like have you kind of moved in the alkaline direction?
I'm trying.
Been working on it. Good.
Yeah, like it's been a year since I've drank. And I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
ate any meats for a while, and I'm working on cheese, and that's where I'm at. But mainly vegetables is what I'm going towards.
That's awesome. Yeah, good for you. It's not easy to make those changes, but yeah, cheese is one of those things that for me, so when I first got into really eating better, I jumped overnight into a vegan diet, and then I was vegan for 2.5 years. And like, oh, those first couple months, like when people around you are eating cheese, it's like, I want that. Like, it's very addicting. There's like hormones in it. And just that, like, it's congestive. Like when you eat them, or like if you drank a glass of milk, you can feel the mucus like in your throat. And so, yeah, cheese is very mucus forming in the body. So if you can kick it as fast as you can and just like go through those like craving phases really quick. And then after a while, you'll be like, I have no desire to even eat that. That will probably be a nice big hump to get over for you. But yeah, I think if you're starting to eliminate the meats and stuff, that's really awesome. For some people, they don't like fruit because they've never really tasted like delicious ripe fruit. But if you have access to like delicious ripe fruit, it's super like, I don't know, satiating in a way. So it's definitely good to eat the vegetables, but I would say try and incorporate a little bit more fruit, and you'll start to, and it kind of sucks because it does get worse before it gets better. Like we go through phases and flare-ups and breakouts and that sort of thing as we heal. But then once that's over, then it's like we got a nice clean body inside. We're, and then we're more flexible in the things that we can eat, and our body's going to be more resilient. It's not going to like backlash so hard. But yeah, I would say try to incorporate more fruit if you can, but definitely the vegetables are good too.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really resonate with everything that you were saying. Very informative. But I do have to get going, so you have
Yeah.
a great day.
Thank
See ya,
you.
Shanika.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Great question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Bye, Tanisha. Bye, girl.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.